So, start off with the rear. The ID light, you can change the brightness of that. So the top one here kind of puts the light in this long LED light that runs all the length of the vehicle. The tip that I had for you, which is so boot wise, we're going to open that in a minute and take a look at the boot. 385 litres, if that makes any sense to you whatsoever. I can tell you that over Christmas I had a couple of weeks off, which was lovely. Unfortunately, that was then used as an opportunity by my wife to send me to the tip on numerous occasions, to the point where if I didn't go, they were like, I think they were worried about me because I was there almost every day taking shit back and forth to the tip. You can take a decent load in this boot. It is more than capable. It's much bigger than you think. As you can see, I mean, maybe it's a bit of a
scale.
A scale there. You've got those big decathlon bags.
That is actually quite big.
So, let's chuck this out. Let's put this to one side. And it's a good opportunity to show you what you get with the car as well. So this is what you get standard, or you'll get with the car. So it's I think it's a 5 metre Type 2 to Type 2 charging cable with the vehicle. So basically, if you're stopping at a charging station which hasn't got a tethered point, as long as it can take Type 2, you're good. I've got for my home charging, because this is what I'm kind of switched over to now, as to electric vehicles. I've gone with the Omi charging solution. A couple of reasons, but one of them is this is a smart charging cable, so I can basically tell the charging cable when I want the charge to start, when I want to stop. Depending on your electric provider, it can also only charge during low peak times. Yeah, there's a ton of things this can do, but it just gave me a little bit more flexibility than say like a Pod Point or any well, there's tons, and they all do the same job. They're all very good. This was probably a little bit of a cheaper solution for me and gave me a bit more flexibility, so I've been pretty happy with this actually so far. And again, another video, we'll look at the charging times and different solutions you can have for the car as well, because it's a big factor when it comes to sort of electric vehicles charging, so I think it kind of warrants its own video.
I think it does.
But I'll let you get in and have a look at the boot space.
That is deceptively large.
It's decent, and then you have got
oh yeah, another part.
So there is a small little space there, but let me show you. So at the minute, charging cable's kind of just in there,
just free. Yeah,
which it's quite heavy, so it's not like it's rolling around, you know, in the boot and everything, but it just takes up space. Ideally, you want it in there, don't you? You want it tucked away. So it's just a shame that they couldn't either somehow incorporate space in this side for it to go under, so it's just tucked away. And because a lot of people, their home charging solution will be a tethered cable at home. Yeah. And they're probably never ever going to use that, or very rarely use that. Yeah. But then the danger comes if you take that out of the car, it just gets lost. You know, so it'd be nice if there was a compartment in the car where you could pull it in there, forget about it and not have to worry about it. But yeah, unfortunately you can't. So start off with the rear. So we'll start off in the back. As you can see, or hopefully get a feel for, it's quite a spacious back design. My front seat here, it's not, you know, all the way back. It's certainly not touching the steering wheel. I'm sort of average height. I've got plenty of leg room there. So this, me sitting here to do a long journey, you know, 2-3 hour journey, not a problem. Absolutely all day long. Plenty of head height as well. But again, like I say, I'm not the shortest, I'm not the tallest, but there's plenty of room there for most people. Got the interior lights here, which are touch.
Nice.
Yeah. 2 USB Type-C charging cables, which is brilliant when you got the passengers in the back seat, especially the kids, and they are charging however many devices they've got and they are watching at the same time, to keep them nice and quiet. So that's a great touch, and I like that. No pockets here on the back seat, the back of the seats. I don't think you need them anymore.
No.
I mean, basically, what they for like maps and stuff like that.
I think so. Or just miscellaneous. I think they were just there because they could be, really.
I think they were there for maps, maybe you get like the big road maps.
Yeah, the A to Zs.
I think that's what they were there for originally. So you don't get any of that, but you do get a decent sized storage compartment on either side. You should easily fit a bottle of Coke or something like that in there, whatever your beverage is. Absolutely no problem. Because it's an electric vehicle, there is nothing in the middle here. There's no big drive chain, which means that passengers can sit there, and again, the feet aren't up really high like they would be normally.
Yeah.
So, although listen, if you're an adult, you would not want to be sat in the middle like this for a long period of time, especially if there's two other adults either side of you. But a short little journey, not a problem. And again, a decent bit of headroom in there for you as well. Right, so up front, driver's seat. First thing is the steering wheel. Let's talk about that straight away. Flat bottom multifunction steering wheel, looks really nice. I've read quite a few people complaining about these touch buttons here, that they're overly sensitive and you knock them as you turn the steering wheel. I've not experienced any of that whatsoever in my 1,551 miles that I have done in this car. It's been absolutely fine. I've used it all the time, up and down the volume, set the adaptive cruise control, things like that. Use these buttons all the time, and I've not had any issues with them whatsoever. On the steering wheel, it's actually attached to it. You've got this display display unit here, which gives you multiple bits of information, not tons like the Audi and a lot of the other Volkswagens as well, but it gives you some key information. Obviously your speed, you can have your navigation route on there as well, and as well, if you've got the adaptive cruise control turned on, it's also going to give you the indication on that. What's really cool about this is, as I said, it's attached to the actual the sort of steering column here, so if you need to adjust this up or down, that's going to come with you as well. So I think that's quite a clever bit of design there with that. Moving on to the infotainment system here, hopefully you can see that.
Yeah, just about.
So this is the setup I go for. So you've got half the screen as your navigation. This is for your media, so I've got a podcast going at the minute, so it's showing me there. I can access the vehicle information, which I'll show you in just a second, and access my telephone contacts as well. So swiping this way back to this is the sort of the start menu. You've got all the different, basically everything the same that was on that screen was on there, but a few more bits like your settings, the background, lighting, which I'll show you in a sec as well. Or you can scroll across to the vehicle information, which again I'll show you in just a second. Storage wise, again, you've got tons of space here because there's nothing in this section here for the car actual physically using the vehicle. It allows the manufacturers then to use this space as cleverly as they can to give the driver and the passengers as much comfort as they can. I think VW have done a pretty neat job actually. So you've got like a little netting section here, you can put bits and pieces in. So I've got my all important hand sanitizer in there. You've got two decent sized drink holders. That's going to take two drinks at the same time. You've got this storage compartment here. So there's a slot here for your phone, which allows for wireless phone charging as well in there. And then another slot here for miscellaneous bits and pieces you can just chuck in. And then you've got this huge, let me put rid of some of this, a huge storage section here, which basically you can fill up with whatever crap you want to fill up with. With two USB Type-C charging sockets there as well. But it's a massive space, and it's quite clever. You've got this divider here, so you can make the space smaller in some sections if you want. You want to make it small to put your change in. It'd be nice to see, I think, in the future, it'd be good to see if third parties come along like they have done with other manufacturers, and they'll build in coin holder thing. Yeah. There's like little trays that can go in there because it is just one big open space at the minute, pretty much apart from this divider. So it'd be nice if there was you could slot a tray over the top maybe to put coin, loose change in and stuff like that, possibly. Yeah, other than that, great bit of space. Both the front of the driver and the passenger seat come with these captain style armrests, which I really like. Personally, I love an armrest and the fact that this can be sort of, you know, the driver and the passenger can choose their own height and have their own armrest effectively, I think is really good. You've got all LED headlights and daytime running lights as well, that's all standard. You've got these 10 colour sequence that you can have, so you can adjust the interior colour of the car in a couple of different ways, but you've got 10 colour choices. So the top one here kind of puts the light in this long LED light that runs all the length of the vehicle, and then the second bar here, that picks the colour on the, there we are, yeah, so you can pick that up. So you can personalise that, again, nice little touch, really like that.
Just like on the Golf?
Yeah, exactly. Let's look at the navigation screen as well, actually, because that's quite important. It's relatively responsive, actually. It's pretty decent. A lot of the time, the manufacturers, they never quite get it right with these sort of touch screens, but it feels pretty good. One thing that's worth pointing out, this car's not running on the version 2 software, so some of the features regarding navigation and the destination charging, things like that, aren't on this vehicle. In terms of like the responsiveness of the screen, the only downside I'd say with it is when you first turn the vehicle on, it can take a minute or two sometimes to get going. Occasionally, and the car will start and you go within seconds. You know, it's keyless start, and like truly keyless start. I mean, you literally press the button, get in it, pull it into drive, and you're gone. There's no waiting around. That works seamlessly. It's absolutely fine. I have noticed on quite a few occasions that the media system and the screen will just take you a minute to wake up. Yeah. Basically, which is a little bit like. But hopefully, it's a software problem and one that can be resolved. So we'll see, but that's my gripe with that. If you go into the vehicle, a lot of people with the electric vehicles, the big thing they like is looking at the sort of the range and how efficient it is. So this is what you can see on this vehicle here. So we've had just under 45 hours worth of driving, average speed of 34 miles an hour. So I'm not sure why that's not showing there. I mean, that's 1,500 miles. It was there earlier, it's not there now. That's odd. And an efficiency of 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour, which basically means I've not been driving the vehicle very efficiently.
How long have you been driving?
Well, quite a long time, but this is the first electric vehicle I've had, and there are
Tesla,
but had and driven for a long time, driven for a period of time. Well, if you want to get the most out of it, you know what, it's no different to a petrol or diesel vehicle, or getting the maximum efficiency out of it. There are things you need to do on this vehicle, which I haven't been doing. But ultimately, I think for the majority of people driving an electric vehicle, they need to be able to drive it like they would a petrol or diesel car. Yeah. And that's how I've been driving this car, like a petrol or diesel vehicle, mate. Just how I would do normally. I'd set the heating like I want it to, and I drive at the speed that I want to drive at, basically. Yeah. Within the legal, parameters, of course. But and that's how it should be. You shouldn't have to be worried about, I've got to drive at 55 miles an hour. A lot of people will want to do that because they want to see that they're getting the max efficiency out of the car, but not when it goes mainstream. That's not how it works, really. Status of the vehicle here. It tells you if you need to service due, any issues with the vehicle, they would all flag up here. Thankfully, we're good. Onto the vehicle screen here. We'll start off with the interior. Within here, you can change some of the setup on there, so you can reset all the trips. The ID light, you can change the brightness of that. And then this screen here, charging. So this is where you can have a look at where the car's up to. You can see them at a 96% battery state. I charged it, you can change how much it charges to, so they always recommend charge it to 80%. I've got a big journey coming up, so when I charged it earlier, I charged it to 100%. And then when it is charging, you'll be able to see how many miles you're getting put into the vehicle, how long's left on the charge, and so on and so forth. So all sorts of data there you can get lost in. So a couple of other key features that are worth noting on the car. Front and rear parking sensors are standard. No rear view camera, unfortunately, but it's not a massive car. I've not struggled with it whatsoever. It's nice to have, but it's not the end of the world for me. Adaptive cruise control, which I must say, don't normally like, but they've done a fantastic job on this. Roadside recognition. So for instance, if you're on the motorway, 70 miles an hour, knows it's 70 miles an hour, and then you're coming up to some roadworks where it's down to 50, it recognises you then going into a 50 zone and will automatically bring you down to 50. Keeps a really good job of keeping the distances between the vehicles, and also if you're on the inside lane and there's a car on the outside lane, it won't try and get past it. It knows there's that car there on the outside lane, and you shouldn't be going past it on the inside lane. So a couple of things like that which I think are really nice with that, which some previous model VW and Audis not so much, but this one they've definitely done a decent job on. And then the other thing that comes with that is the lane assist, which I'm not a huge fan of. Not to the point where I've turned it off yet, but it can get a little bit jittery sometimes, and when the road markings aren't brilliant, which they aren't in a lot of places in the UK, it gets a little bit lost and starts trying to pull you all over the place. But not, like I say, not to the point where I've turned it off, but yeah, it is a little bit irritating. Brings me up to the last point that I spoke about right at the start of the video. So if you stayed with us till now, then well done, and you probably should get out more, in all honesty, if you've watched the end of this video with me talking nonsense for God knows how many minutes. But well done, you found the tip that I had for you, which is when it's cold like this, as I said, as you're turning up the heat on the car, your range is going that way. What I've learned from other people, and it has worked, I've tried it a few times, is to maximise your range efficiency, is to try and keep your temperature sort of fairly low. I had it like 16, 17 degrees this morning, which it was like 1 or 2 degrees out. But I had my heated seats on and my heated steering wheel on, because they're standard on this car, and it basically kept the range up, it kept the efficiency really good on the vehicle. The range didn't lose any range or much range from doing that, a lot less than if I turned the heating up. So I got nice and warm, my hands, you see, all nice and toasty, kept its range to its maximum efficiency, so happy days.